Some career paths move in a straight line, but that of Jacinta Redden has taken in politics, media, commerce, communications, and a kiss on the cheek from a rolling stone. It's a path that's been full of sliding door moments, where small decisions have lasting impacts, starting with a St. Anne's English teacher, Sally Hughes, urging Jacinta to take up work experience at the Warrnambool Standard. This led to an after-school job at the paper as a 15-year-old, and an entree to the world of media. Mrs. Hughes was an early inspiration to Jacinta, and nurtured her love of writing and a curiosity about the world, two ideal qualities for journalism. The Standard went on to offer Jacinta a cadetship after Year 12, but Jacinta turned it down in favour of enrolling at a university in Melbourne. Unfortunately, soon after enrolling, Jacinta found she couldn't afford to study in Melbourne, so she asked the Standard if the prize cadetship was still an offer. It was. The door slid open again, and Jacinta stepped onto the first rung of a highly successful career in communications, both in Australia and overseas. After 3 years at the Standard, Jacinta moved to Melbourne, where she worked alongside some of Australia's best journalists for what is now the Herald Sun, covering courts and crime. Jacinta found the criminal justice system fascinating and urges every student to spend a day in a courtroom to see how quickly a life can change, regardless of who we are. Such strong journalism experience opened the door to a job in politics, with Jacinta joining the Victorian Government Media Unit under Joan Kirner, despite only being in her early 20s. The newsroom beckoned, however, so Jacinta made the decision to fly to London and find work on Fleet Street, then the mecca for print journalists the world over. On the way, she stopped in Hong Kong to visit some old colleagues, and life took a different trajectory. "I really fell in love with the place," she says. "I had some extraordinary experiences, and stayed." Jacinta started working in Hong Kong with the likes of Cathay Pacific, Marriott Hotels, and major conglomerates while working in a PR agency. Jacinta then landed what could only be described as a dream job with Tourism Australia in Hong Kong, promoting Australia across Asia, and particularly to the Chinese market in the lead up to the 2000 Sydney Olympics. But promoting her home country stirred pangs of homesickness, so after almost 10 years away, Jacinta returned to Australia. For the next 7 years, she worked in a variety of senior communication roles, including with the Victorian Government Media Unit under Premier Steve Bracks, Tourism Victoria, and Aged and Community Services Australia. The pull of Hong Kong, however, remained strong. In 2007, Jacinta returned to Hong Kong with 2 young children, becoming a single parent early on her second tour. She continued a successful corporate career, including being appointed Deputy Manager Director of global PR company Goldin Harris Hong Kong, and later Director of Communications for insurance giant Prudential Asia. Her career took her frequently across Asia and to London and New York. Today, Jacinta is a permanent resident of Hong Kong and at the top of her game as CEO of the Australian Chamber of Commerce in Hong Kong, a position she has held for the last 4 years. She recently stepped down to pursue her own business, with her first client being one of the world's largest law firms. She also serves on the advisory board of a Perth-based cybersecurity company. During her time at Auscham, Jacinta guided a complete transformation of what is Australia's largest international chamber of commerce, turning around its budget and a falling membership, and creating a global voice for all expat Australians.
The Auscham Virtual Intern Program equips the students for a world of work that didn't exist this time last year. We've been able to bring incredible Asia experience sitting right here in Hong Kong to students from Australia working on their desks on the East Coast.
All of Jacinta's skills have come together as she engages with the highest level of government and corporate leaders on critical issues around policy, government relations, trade, and major investment and geopolitics. And what about the Rolling Stones? Prudential Insurance, as it happens, sponsored a Rolling Stones tour of the Asia Pacific, and Jacinta got to meet the band, where Keith Richards gave her a kiss on the cheek. It was, she jokes, the highlight of what has been a truly dynamic career.